Hello, good evening, and welcome to the CantinaMX podcast, a barroom conversation about Liga MX in the world of soccer. My name is John Jagug. Glad to have you guys with us this evening. It's a big week in the world of soccer. It's a World Cup qualifying is going to be happening all over the world, so have plenty to discuss. Of course, we'll be talking about the Mexico-Costa Rica game that is going to be played this Friday night in the Estadio Azteca, and then the trip over to Trinidad a few days later, as Mexico has 4 points after 2 games in the Hex and have a real good chance to put themselves in good position to qualify with a good run of play in these next 2 games. As always, we are live on YouTube on Wednesday nights about this time, 9:30, and we'll be on for the next couple hours. And you can listen to this and other editions of the CantinaMX podcast from the Podcast Center on iTunes or on Google Play. So again, we appreciate y'all joining us. Thank you very much. It would not be a CantinaMX podcast if we didn't have a distinguished panel of participants, and that is no different tonight. We always aim high and we go higher here at the CantinaMX podcast. And once again, just another stellar cast with you this evening. Over in Kyle, Texas, which is about 40 miles from here, but takes like an hour and a half because of Austin traffic. We have with us Albert El Chiquiscampa. Albert, how are you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Doing good.
Now, Albert, was this the game that you were planning on going to, or are you going to the games in June?
The June ones. Excuse me.
Well, you better hope for your sake that they're still going to be at the Azteca, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Good to have you on, Albert. And Albert, you'll be setting up a telephone number for our audience to call in.
Yeah, in a couple of minutes, I'll have it ready. I'll tweet it out and I'll put it on our chat.
Excellent. Well, for you folks that want to, we do want to hear from you. So please, once Albert posts that number, feel free to give us a call, and we will let you sit in on the panel. Over in South Los Angeles, a gentleman who we missed last week. He had a prior engagements, very important meetings. He was taking some meetings, so he wasn't able to join us. But he's with us this evening. Of course, I'm talking about none other than a gentleman who I'm sure Saturday night was. I'm sure he was belting it. I'm talking about Joel Aceves. Joel, how are you?
Cool, John. It's been a good week, so I'm doing good.
Glad to hear it, Joel. Are you starting to have a relationship rekindling, or are you still on the outside looking in?
No, still on the outside, John. I think that's not changing.
Yeah. The flowers and the chocolate were nice, but you're still. Well, nothing's going to change just yet.
Hey, the ownership. Until the ownership changes, I don't self-attaching, fully to the team. But that doesn't mean I can't enjoy the wins
So you will root
the team playing from time to time.
I understand. Well, we'll get into that probably in the second hour of our podcast, because we do want to dedicate some other time to what's going to happen this weekend and into next week. So good to have you on, Joel.
Thank you.
And of course, we have to introduce a man who needs no introduction, but does get one anyway. Of course, we're talking about Ron DeLuna. Ron, are you with us, or are you still having problemas? Sounds like he's still having problems. There we go. Yeah. Did you plug it in, Ron?
Yeah, I guess my headphones aren't working right now, so.
Yeah. Well, you probably don't get very good reception in the Citadel, so I would understand that you're having some issues.
Yeah, that is true, John. That is true.
Yeah.
I have to keep myself in the Citadel because I get no respect elsewhere.
Well, I do believe that we have someone who has made a request to come and peruse the books, because he has an assignment. So I don't know what your policy is on letting other people in.
Who needs access?
It would be Brother Joel who needs to look up some stuff.
Ron just reminded me of Ronnie Dangerfield. I get no respect.
I get no respect, no respect. My mom never breastfed me.
I tried going
as a friend.
I tried going.
Everybody, we're all gonna get laid.
Yes.
I tried going to the Citadel, but Ron always has the cotton fishing sign. Or out to lunch.
What information do you need?
Well, Costa Rica Mex, just like a brief history of, the rivalry. First time they played, probably first big match.
I have all that information.
Steve, maybe you
that
could
was
hire
actually
Joel
that was
to be your
that was
scanner.
Mexico's original
Clásico.
rival.
Yeah, that's the original Clásico.
But although it was Mexico's original rival, it still was. It still wasn't. In many cases, it wasn't reciprocal. But I mean, they
And Ron, living in Los Angeles, I would have thought Mexico's original rival was El Salvador.
You know what? It's the same thing because living in Houston, same thing.
Oh yeah.
You think it'd be Honduras and El Salvador because of the animosity. Sometimes their fans,
Yeah, and yeah, you went to before some.
And I bet you Guatemala feels it the same way.
It was like the Old West going to the Wild West going to the stadium, and there would be a lot of fights in the stands, or just going to the stadium or coming out of the stadium.
Well, I told you my experience, Ronnie, when I was in Houston over at that place on Hillcroft, Rita's.
Yeah, Rita's. God, I love that place.
Where the place was full of chapines.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to watch their game, but then they realized that it was on ESPN. So they took up the whole place to watch a game where they thought it was going to be like on pay-per-view, where it was being broadcast for free, leaving me and some other poor schlep to watch the Mexico-Panama game like on an 8-inch black and white over the bar. So
I miss that place.
Yeah,
I mean, after Mexico started, Fox Sports and stuff like that started, hosting Copa Libertadores and the Olympic qualifiers, the pre-Olympic qualifiers and stuff like that. I mean,
right.
Obviously, there was no point of going back to the place,
but you know what? There is something to watching like World Cup qualifying or a high intensity match at like a bar, and
I mean,
and the rival fans are there too, and you know what I mean? They're celebrating when they score on your team,
yeah.
And you have that feeling of like.
Let's face it, Joel, you want to see chingazos is what you want to see.
Yes, John. But I just don't want to. I don't want to partake. I just want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't have those Beto skills yet.
Right. So because then you can go look. Hey, just look at that. Look at how those guys are behaving. You want to. You have moral high road. You need to. I say, go get me another beer so I can watch this. Watch the next one. I understand. Well, gentlemen, there is World Cup qualifying is back. Mexico in the Hex has 4 points. They're in second place. Right now, it's Costa Rica that's in first place with 6 points. And I think that we agreed that their first 2 games were at home. Is that correct? So these next 2 should probably be on the road for Costa Rica. And, of course, they're playing in at the Estadio Azteca. It'll be Friday night at around 8 o'clock is when the game gets going. CONCACAF, I don't know if y'all noticed, but they got a little smart. They have the games going 1, 2, 3 as far as time, so people can watch all 3 of them. Because I know that you guys are just going to be glued to your television to scout the Trinidad Panama game first as the appetizer, and then they have the Mexico Costa Rica match, and then the nightcap is out on the West Coast, U.S. against Honduras, which the Honduras coach this week said, well, the refs are gonna make sure that the U.S. wins. So, there you go.
You kind of hate it when that stuff happens, but you know what? The old guard, the one that was taken down, by the FBI, I wouldn't put it past them.
So you're saying meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
I don't know, man. I don't know if the new boss is going to allow for those type of shenanigans early on.
Well, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know. Honestly, the U.S. should have. They've other than that game in 2002, they should have no problem.
John, have you ever seen? I think that I don't remember which British tabloid or not newspaper, but they actually did a report on the match the U.S. played against Trinidad and Tobago back in 1989.
Right.
Did you ever watch
it? It was the Guardian, I think. They had the article about it. Yeah, that there were.
Yeah, I mean,
anomalies. There was anomalies during the match.
There were huge anomalies, and it all, besides that match, I mean, Mexico getting eliminated or getting suspended out of the World Cup for something that other teams have done and continue to do of using overage players. That was that was done to ensure that the U.S. grew, in terms of soccer. So they had the experience going into the '94 World Cup. They wanted to ensure that the U.S. had the experience going into the World Cup in '96 or '94. I'm sorry.
So just out of curiosity,
I will believe this till my
when
dying
did
day.
Blazer and Warner, when did they get involved in the X Code?
They, if memory serves
Was it before or after 1988?
Warner and them started going, if I'm not mistaken, they took over, I think, in 91. But the wheels were already set in motion because the U.S. getting the World Cup happened around that time. So I mean, originally, the U.S. was supposed to host the '86 World Cup after Colombia couldn't do it.
Right.
And FIFA was dead set on having one in the United States.
Yeah, and they needed it because the NASL was bleeding, and they
were
trying to save it.
Yeah, they had already, they had already folded. I think they folded I think in '84, if I'm not mistaken. But they had already folded. The NASL, they still wanted the soccer. What's the name? Sorria Terrazas, the guy that ran, CONCACAF for many years. He was on his way out, and Blazer was the one that actually took the initiative of getting, he knew that he couldn't get elected president, but he knew that he could get Jack Warner president. And he says, look, you can get all the minnows behind, I can get them, behind you. So I don't know.
That's a very, the timing is very interesting.
Yep.
If it did happen. But
I always laugh. I always laugh when they say that they helped Mexico get into the 2002 World Cup. Remember when Trinidad or was it Honduras hit the post 6-7 times?
Right.
You remember that?
Oh yeah, no, that was that was the one shocking, and that was in Honduras too. It was in Honduras that they lost that game. Just an absolute shocker.
I still think that was the best Honduras side that I've seen too, by the way.
Oh, there's no question. Well, the one in '82 was really decent because they, and the best part about it is that they didn't play scared, which, I wish that Honduras would play like that now, especially when they play the because they have the at least the athletic skills to really scare the hell out of some teams, and. But you're right though that 2002. I mean the Pantera, that was before he was injured, so he was just he was an animal. He was a great player. Yeah. He was I remember watching that game when who was it? Was it Mesa's last game when they just destroyed him?
Yeah.
I mean, just destroyed Mac. I mean, it wasn't even close. I mean, they just crushed them. And yeah, I remember Suazo in that was just, I mean, he was unstoppable. I was like, man, this is really, really, I mean, he was just absolutely terrific. He got injured and he was never the same. Ooh. But so Mexico's playing Costa Rica. It's at the Azteca. In theory, Mexico should be and is, I'm not gonna say heavy favorites, but they're strong favorites. I'll ask y'all straight up: Is Mexico going to walk out of that stadium with 3 points?
If Osorio does what he's supposed to do in terms of not just advancing all the lines and worry about the state, the fans, because they obviously want to win and they want to win convincingly. They want the 3 points and like they say, ganar, golear y gustar, right?
Right.
I kind of have to, and I wrote this. I think I wrote this. I responded to, who was it? Pancho Villa's Army, a little questionnaire. about does the Azteca carry its does it intimidate anymore? I don't remember the exact question, but aside from the fact that our players are also affected by the altitude, I think that and this happened last World Cup cycle, that our tactics, our game plan was all wrong, because those teams come into Azteca Stadium and they're fine parking the bus, they're fine, they're okay. They want to get at least a draw. And what Mexico does is they start getting desperate and they start advancing their lines, and obviously they're exposing their back line, and they can get killed in the counterattacking. I am of the believer that it's time to be more pragmatic, and you can still concede possession, but you can still maintain control, the tempo, and the given tactics that you have, that you implement.
It's interesting you say that, Ronnie, because Joel and yes, Joel, please, Joel.
There you go, beating me to it again, John.
No, I was gonna,
Ron,
yeah.
First, Ron, I'm trying to write an article, and John already published the same topic article.
Well, I mean,
now I'm about to say we were just talking about. It's like you were listening in on our conversation. We were saying the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true. I mean, you can, and I'm not saying that you have to play, bunker ball. What I'm saying is that, conceding possession is like, always, just like, like boot it out of your territory. I said, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can concede possession at least for the short while and control the match. And then,
but it's like you said, Ron, with the Triple G,
yeah,
and the fans at the Azteca will turn on you. If you're not playing silky soccer, you're not entertaining them. They're gonna start booing you.
Yeah,
and it's like like you said, the Mexico team gets desperate, but they also, they end up doing the bulk of the work, and when you have the players that they're not used to playing at Azteca at altitude, they end up tiring themselves out.
They do. They really do. And I again, you going back to what the fans start, turning on the team. La Puente said it best. It's like, if you wanted to if you want to show, go to the circus. There's some truth into that, because the team, I think Osorio would be stupid to go guns a-blazing.
One thing on those tactics, though,
yeah,
and maybe like going off a counter, is that we're missing probably our speedier guy. Well, I guess we got them, but Chupi's not there, Tecatito's not there, Giovanni's not there for the counter. Those are our counterattack guys with speed.
But I'm pretty sure that the Chicharito and Jurgen and Carlos Vela could get a pretty raging counter going without any problem.
That's one thing. That's one thing that look, I think that in terms of Mexico being the better team, Mexico is obviously the better team, and I understand the Central American teams have gone better, but I also believe that those teams still don't play, toe-to-toe, al tú with Mexico, because Mexico will play. They will play, al tú. It doesn't matter if they're playing in San Pedro Sula, or it doesn't matter if they're playing in San Jose or whatever. Those teams won't do that in Mexico, and you guys know that. In fact, even in many times in the Gold Cup, they don't. In the U.S., they would
Right.
rather.
Honduras is particularly notorious for it.
Yeah. So I just think that Mexico needs to be pragmatic, and after they score first, wait for the team to wait for the opposing team to open up, and then they can play a little bit more to their style. But I think that they should play the percentages, and I think that they should go for high percentage passing, good defense. That's what I hope that Osorio does with the team.
One way that they can not, you say concede possession but not concede your style is instead of bringing it up, from the goalie to the defenders, have the goalie just send a balón dividido the entire game, whether it's whether he's despejando or just kicking it.
Yeah.
let him juke it out in the midfield, and that way, if you get it, then you can go. But if you don't, then you back up, and then you So there's no reason they need to walk it up every time.
Last time around, last World Cup qualifying campaign, El Ruso Barilovsky said something that I don't remember how exactly he said it, but
how do you feel about Russo as a commentator?
He gets a lot of good insight. He gets a lot of. I think so too. He tends to get a little bit rattled sometimes by Marina and the other guys.
But you know what I love about him is that he's so respectful. He's so respectfully, and just so eloquently tells him to shut the F up.
yeah. But going back to what he said, and I agree with him, because he was talking about that, you can concede possession, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the ball, or I'm going to give you the opportunity for you to come and attack, but I'm going to dictate how you're going to attack, where you're going to attack, and how many times you're going to attack. And obviously he said it in Spanish, and it sounded better, but I mean that the gist of it was basically, just don't think that just because you send more guys up front that you're being offensive. It's not.
One thing they always had a problem with in the past, and not so much recently, but they'd want to walk the ball into the goal.
Yeah.
Like a faraway shot, or maybe a distancia shot, something like that, to threaten.
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious with a lot of the lineups that I've seen what their strategy is going to be, especially if Dan plays, because one thing he has is that he's used to it. Well, number one. Number two, he is lightning fast, and number three, his crosses are more often than not halfway decent. And if Chicharito's playing, I mean, if Chicharito gets open for a cross like that, he 9 times out of 10 will put him in the net.
Yeah.
So
and if you recall, a lot of Chicharito's best goals in Manchester United, was him playing out, basically running an open field on counters.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Yeah, he's a terrific counterattacker.
So I mean, because people always accuse him of just being a poacher, but that's inside the box, and he's very good inside the box. But he's I
don't mean to interrupt, Ron, but what is so wrong with being a poacher? I mean, how do you win?
Nothing's wrong.
No, I know you don't have a problem with it, but I've never understood people. All he does is score. That's what he's paid to do. Yeah. Why are people on his case for Chicharito scoring goals?
Yeah. To me, I think Chicharito running towards the goal is a lot better than Chicharito basically playing his back towards the goal.
There's no question, absolutely, and what he does so well, I think his finishing skills are above average. They're not excellent, but what he does extremely well, and why he has so many chances, is that he finds spots to make himself wide open, and he does that better almost than anybody in the world. I mean, he really knows how to position himself and how to juke defenders to find that one tiny little opening, and then he, and if he gets that opportunity, man, he is just. And he just hasn't had those opportunities. They haven't. I mean, they played in the last Hex, when they last time played Costa Rica and Mexico. Costa Rica had more shots on goal, which was like 2 to Mexico's 0. They had no shots on goal the entire game. Nothing. It was painful to watch.
Yeah. So
Cheek isn't too.
Do you agree with that sentiment, Chiquis, or about Chicharito?
What, that he's?
Or are you still mad at him?
Well, I think karma has struck. I think he's a little bit sad now. He's a little bit sentimental.
So that's the wrong one. Damn, I hit the wrong button.
What is he sad
I was supposed
about?
to play this one.
Chicharito, he's my nemesis.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys seen the news, like, not to get into chismes or anything, but what's her name? Cody?
Camila Sodi?
Camila Sodi, yeah. She I posted a link of her Twitter or of her Instagram post where she said something that might have been directed at Chicharito, dissing him, saying that he would pretty much, what is that phrase? Le quedó grande la yegua.
I think she was like in his bucket list,
Oh, so it was just like a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It sounded like, that she was like sending him packing. But yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying.
I like this new Chicharito. You know, his off the field exploits.
Yeah, he's becoming a player. There's no question.
Yeah, man, he's gonna leave.
But you don't like La Chofis and his. Well, I guess La Chofis has consequences.
No, I have nothing against La Chofis.
Oh, okay.
You are anti-Chofis.
I was just saying why he was lacking concentration.
You know, I personally
Doesn't he
believe
have
that
like 2
Trophies
kids
should
already?
be on. He has,
that's
nothing wrong with that. You know,
no, but I think he has to worry about it.
is it the same? Is it the same mom?
He has the no, I don't think so. He has the baby mama drama. Wow,
That's what happened with what's his name, Castillo, el homie Castillo.
Yeah. Oh, and he had like a 15-year-old girl, right?
Yeah.
He had. She was both. She was both a MILF and jailbait. But
Yeah.
I don't think in Mexico though, right? Is that like legal? It was like
I
12.
don't think
What's the age?
I don't think the parents had a problem because they saw
They saw
peso signs.
But
No, but going back to the game, the so Ronnie, your strategy would be to let them think that they're attacking us, but we're really gonna. So it's kind of like how the other team defends Mexico is what Bailovsky said Mexico should do to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, as opposed to advancing the lines and having them, play the bunker or play the bus, or park the bus, trick them into basically, letting them get out of their shell,
Right.
and then once you open up or once you score, and have them, I mean, obviously they're going to want to open up a little. Then go back to what you know how to do best, and Mexico knows how to play well, possession wise. But the team, they do that best, and that's why I've always said that I like Mexico when they play Brazil, when they play Argentina and stuff like that, because obviously those teams like to open up regardless,
Right.
And Mexico's done. They've played very good games, regardless of the result. They've played some very, very good games because both teams like to play. It's always tough when one team doesn't want to play or one team is just dead set on.
The big difference between playing those two teams, though, for Mexico is that there are a few teams that Mexico has a hard time getting the ball back from, and Brazil and Argentina are two of those, probably the only two, honestly.
Yeah, but Mexico fares, but at least in recent history, Mexico has fared very well against Brazil. Not so much Argentina.
God, how bizarre is that? I mean, think about that, because the overwhelming majority of foreign players in Mexico are Argentine, right? I mean, Mexico plays. I mean, how many coaches in Mexico are Argentine? I mean, Mexico plays Argentine soccer and has, for generations, and you would think that they would know how to deal with that, but they have. You're right. I mean, they've beat Argentina in the Copa America, and I can't think of another time where they've even come. I mean, they just haven't drawn or anything. They've lost, lose.
Yeah.
It's but Brazil, like you say, they've. I'm not gonna say they've owned, but they've had probably more success than any other country against Brazil.
And against their full teams, in Brazil, in outside in Europe and Asia and stuff like that, against and this goes back even into their youth system. And keep in mind that Mexico was one of the few teams, because they did this. I think they did it when Borja was a player. They've been one of the few teams that have been actually, they've been able to go into Brazil and actually beat Brazil in Brazil. They did it. They did it back in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, Mexico doesn't play Brazil too many times in Brazil, but
when I was a kid, they did, and I remember it was I forget where they played, and Mexico lost 2-0, but Mexico hung with them. Yeah. But it was so humid that by the end of the game, that like both teams, that was back when they just wore cotton shirts.
Yeah.
Both teams, they were just soaked to the bone. I mean, and it wasn't raining. I mean, they were just so wiped out from the humidity. It was it was pretty funny. But that is interesting, though, that it's Brazil that they've had success with, and not Argentina. Especially considering how much of an influence Argentine soccer has had.
But here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about it. At the club level, Mexican teams have done not so well against the Brazilian teams, but for the most part have owned. Like if you go head to head against the RG teams, and especially in the knockout rounds, Mexico has done a lot better than the against them in head to head. I mean, they've gone into Monumental, they've gone into Bombonera, and they've been able to get results.
Right.
This is my crazy thought on that is in the national teams, Argentina has more of an arrogance and more of a superiority mindset than Brazil does against Mexico. And that displays out on the field where Argentina can take them on. And Brazil sort of has a respect and maybe too much respect for Mexico, which enables Mexico to sort of take advantage and play well. And then on the club side, like you said, it's sort of the opposite where, well, it doesn't really make sense, but there's a lot of Argentina and Brazilian players on Mexican clubs that enable them to do well against Argentina's players or teams.
But Chiquis, but even like a team like Chivas or Chivas, they've done well. They fared well against and I will say this, that the time when Chivas played Boca Juniors, what was it in 2005?
Right.
When they beat them 4-0, and then they went.
El escopitazo.
And went to Boca. I was like, damn. I was like, I wanted to hate, but I couldn't hate.
They had to respect the rival.
I was like, no, I need to hate. I need to hate.
Well, I mean, it goes to show you how ardido the Argentines get. If they, I mean, it's one thing to lose to America, where they have 4 Argentines playing, or whatever it is, but to lose to an all-Mexican team like that, the way that they did, I mean, dude spit in his face.
Yeah, and then you had the coach fly to Guadalajara to apologize. that was awesome.
Incredible guy though. Anyway, but
Estoy avergonzado.
Well, one thing back on the game though that I found interesting today, I think Wiesbro, he posted a tweet on his perspective lineup, and he has a back line of Salcedo, Araujo, Rafa, Moreno, and Layun. And this other guy brought up, those are pretty much 4 center backs out of 5 of them. No right back at all. And so that might be interesting how they're.
They don't have a right back.
Yeah,
well, Salcedo has been played on the right for Fiorentina.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is exciting. Dan Preciado has joined us from Escondido, California.
Thank you for
Dan,
the introduction.
Of course.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've been lurking, man. I've been hanging around listening to the conversation. Just decided to chime in because he's played on the right. Granted, it's not going to be probably your most offensive right back that you've ever seen, but I think defensively and on set pieces he gives a size and strength, which I think is what I said last week is probably going to be the way we're going to end up scoring if we do, because I have trouble thinking that this team is going to generate much offense, and if they go with the type of strategy that Roddy's talking about, then we're going to be looking for that kind of those kinds of scoring opportunities, or maybe like if you were saying like divided balls in the midfield where they're able to generate a quick attack off that. But I also saw a lineup that it was like a 4-3-3 with Oribe up front and Vela and Chicharo on I guess on the wings. I don't know, or slightly withdrawn. But
that would be such a waste of both of them.
Well, I wouldn't mind Vela being there on the side. I mean, Chicharito's going to be probably more closer to Oribe, but I like Vela in open space if he's allowed to roam and move around more.
Well, I think Vela would be great, but I'm talking about Chicharito and Oribe. They would just cancel each other out. It would be just painful.
I don't know. I think Oribe is pretty malleable at this point, where he could kind of fit in wherever you need him to, and he's an excellent passer. I wouldn't mind that.
He did. I don't mean to interrupt, but he made on that goal that America won the game. He did a screen that was legendary. Did you see that, Ronnie? On the winning goal that America had against Pumas? where Oribe took out, I think it was 2 defenders by just straight up blocking them, man. It was beautiful.
Yeah, best block I've ever seen though was by Germán Villa.
For or against.
There was a set piece, and if I recall, I think it was against Pumas, if I'm not mistaken. There was a set piece, and he was on the wall, and he just took out 2 guys. Yeah, but yes, I did watch that game, John.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later. We'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I do. Yeah, we'll just get into that a little bit later. Okay, and then well, I did see one. Jon Sutcliffe posted one where he had Vela Chicharito Dam, which made me actually much more excited than a Vela Chicharito Oribe, just because Dam would then, he'd be a very good winger to distribute. So.
Yeah, that would I guess what Dan was saying would be good, because if Salcedo and those defenders can knock out maybe a corner or some type of set piece, that would be an excellent type of counterattack. With their size, knock out a ball, get it to Orbelin, and then just hustle it down to Dam or somebody.
The big advantage that Oribe has over all the other forwards is that is his home stadium.
Yeah.
He can go the full 90 without any problem. I mean, he does all the time.
And that is an advantage that he's going to have over most of the players on the field.
Yeah.
If that's the way it shakes out.
Yeah, he's going to be one of the few players that has that advantage, actually.
And it's funny, I was listening to Línea de Cuatro, and they were having our discussion from months and months and months ago as well about I know Perro Bermudez has been pretty insistent upon that you have to make the elevation and the smog count. You have to make it a factor,
right?
But I'm like, and I think finally, I guess what they're doing is, and I've heard this before too, that it takes a certain amount of time to acclimate to the elevation, and if you're not going to have that required time, the best thing to do is just show up and play.
Yeah.
Right. So they're treating Azteca into an away game, is what they're doing.
But I also, sorry to interrupt you guys, but I also think that there's also motives by many members of the press that that are making this now into an issue. Is basically they want to take away the games from Azteca for obvious reasons.
Dude, I don't think anyone wants to has a vendetta to take games away from the Azteca. The fact of the matter is that it's whatever home field advantage it had, it does not have anymore, and Mexico needs to play where they can maximize their home field advantage. Why is it that every other team in CONCACAF does the exact same thing, and then Mexico, you got to play at the Azteca, even though it hurts their team as much as anybody else.
No other team in CONCACAF has a stadium with the legacy, the history.
Well, you're right, Ron. There's no question. I agree with you 100% on that. But imagine Costa Rica walking into.
Do you really think that weighs on the mind? I don't think that weighs on the mind. And not only that, it's not like other home field. It's not a true home field advantage anymore when you have a home field crowd that's going to be willing to turn on you at the drop of a hat. It's going to take them all of 10 minutes before you start seeing a couple of misplayed passes or if the half hour goes into the game and they're not even close to scoring, you're going to hear the jeers. It's not a home field advantage. Now, before you're able to point to the fact that all the players or a lot of the players were playing at elevation, that made a huge it counted for it was a huge advantage at that time. But now the players aren't used to playing there. The crowd isn't what you want it to be for a home field qualifier. I think it makes sense to send it somewhere else just to allow a more grateful crowd to actually support the team, because they're I think the fans in the DF are way too demanding.
I don't think the crowd should be.
Out of the 5 games they had in the last Hex at the Azteca, only 2 of them sold out. One of them, it was half full, and the other 2 out of the 90,000, I mean, they barely got to maybe 70. So,
Yeah, I don't think the crowd should be an issue. I think that's some mental midgetry if you're getting depressed and feeling the pressure when they're.
Well, no, it's not about feeling the pressure, but it's if you're talking about it having an advantage, the crowd is considered. I mean, it's part of the reason why it's considered an advantage because it also not only encourages the home team, but it also on some level tries to get in the head of the opponent. But if you have the crowd that's going to start yelling olays to the home team,
I don't think it
that's
should.
going to have a psychological effect on the other team as well.
So
It goes
what
both ways.
what other stadiums do you go to? I mean, the altitude is it
Anywhere.
Well,
you can't
that's
go to Bombonera because Bombonera is
it's higher.
higher
You can't go to Pachuca.
because it's higher.
So really, the only option is going to be Veracruz. You're going to have to play at the Pirata Fuente.
And you want to play in 40 in basically in the humidity and
Look, Ronnie. I'm not saying don't play in Mexico City. All I'm saying is don't play them all at the Azteca. There's no. I mean, the Azteca can host 2 at the most, but there's no reason why they can't play in Guadalajara. There's no reason they can't play in Monterrey, and there's no reason they can't, pick a wild card like Puebla or wherever it is.
Do you think they should play them in the U.S.?
No.
No, that's silly.
And personally, I think Tijuana would be an excellent choice if it wasn't for that awful field. If they put down grass there, I would absolutely play a qualifier in Tijuana.
Too many nacos in Tijuana.
That's who you want going to the games, dude.
That is who you want going to the games. In that case, they should have the team. They should have the team playing Veracruz.
Yeah. Well, it would help all of our players that play at sea level because the entire 9 out of 11 guys play at sea level. So
well, but playing someplace like Veracruz would be an advantage for Costa Rica. That'd be more of a home type of setting for them.
What's the stadium that has the glory hole?
That's Oaxaca.
Oaxaca.
Yeah.
Maybe they should go there.
But I'm not totally opposed to the elevation. Like if they're able to if both teams are going to be affected equally, then that's a wash. I don't have an issue so much with that. My main issue, I guess, with the FA, aside from those things, is the crowd and the that short leash that they seem to have.
Hey,
you want to punish the crowd.
But here's the thing. Dan, the player has to overcome it. He can't be faced by it, dude.
I'm not saying being phased by it, but why the hell what's the point of having a home game?
You can't have Marquito Fabian out reading letters.
What's the point of having a home game if you can't even count on your crowd to cheer for you?
You shouldn't count on your crowd. It shouldn't even matter.
Yeah. You should.
If it didn't matter, then home teams wouldn't naturally win more than they lose. If that wasn't a factor, like you say it should be. I mean, I'm not saying whether it should or shouldn't, but it absolutely is. That's why home teams tend to win more than away teams.
I don't think it's too big of a factor, like you're saying, though. The Azteca is a different situation because of the altitude, the smog, and the historic.
Well, if all you want to do is have a home game, then sure. If you want to have a home field advantage,
there is no. I don't think there is such thing as a home field.
Oh my God!
Are you kidding me? How could you say that?
Seriously?
Just look at statistics.
How many games in 2009 did Mexico in the 2009 Hex win at home?
Look, hey,
that is an anomaly.
An anomaly, dude.
To put things in perspective, the record that Mexico has in the Azteca is still superb. Okay, in context, last time around, okay, and granted, certain teams they've gone a little sneaky in the terms of parking the bus. Okay. But there are ways, and one way of doing it is not just throwing more people up front. That's not how you do it. That's not how you beat that.
You have to draw. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
It's true, John.
You gotta honey trap them.
You can't walk in. You can't tiki taka yourself into it. Walking the ball into the goal. You just can't do that.
If they're gonna treat the Azteca like an away, they're treating Azteca like an away game, then play the game like they're playing an away Azteca game. Let the other team come to you. Let them get tired first, then you hit them.
I don't see Costa Rica doing that. For all the talk about wanting, and I know the perception is that Costa Rica is okay with playing Mexico heads up, but they're not gonna just throw caution to the wind and go for the win. I mean, they're gonna try to take their chances, of course, but I'm gonna have, I don't know, I have serious doubts that they're just gonna start if and when Mexico conceded possession, that they would be all right, we'll go ahead and take the initiative on this. I don't think that's gonna happen. If Mexico gives away possession, or what we're going to see is just a weird, ugly game where the ball's just being constantly divided in the midfield. That's what I see.
It's going to go back and forth because Rica gets possession.
But you want it to be divided in the midfield.
But yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I'm just saying that we're not. I don't think we're going to see a Costa Rica team that's going to be like, all right, I'll have the ball. And we're going to take it. That's not going to happen.
The backline isn't going to go forward. That's the problem. They're going to take the ball. If they get possession, they'll take it up. But they're going to only go put their forwards and a couple of midfielders. Their back not going to be compromised.
Yeah, but that's the thing, now, is that you lull them into a sense of, hey, if you send your right back up on this next one, you have a real chance, and then you hit him with Dom on the counter, boom.
But also one thing to consider, as opposed to the previous editions, is that you have the U.S. that they're horrible shape. Honduras also, although they're okay, but they also had the previous round of qualifiers, they were almost eliminated. So right now you're going to have the U.S., you're going to have Honduras, you're going to have Panama fighting tooth and nail. So these teams, they're not going to have the luxury of just sitting back at the Azteca. They're going to have to fight for points. The U.S. coming to Mexico, they're going to have to fight for points, because they're pretty bad shape right now.
I think these two games are gonna largely influence on how they approach the Azteca game.
Costa Rica has the luxury of maybe parking the bus, but as far as the other teams, they're not going to have that luxury, because what they're going to try to avoid is they're going to try to avoid the goal differential for the third and fourth spot, going the teams.
Well, wouldn't that make the teams bunker even more if they're playing Mexico
because
at
you
home?
need the points. You need the points.
They need
goal,
the 3 points.
Goal differential is going to matter.
That's what I'm saying. Goal differential, meaning I don't want to get my ass kicked 4-0, 3-0.
But
I'll take a 1-0 loss and
the U.S. did get their ass kicked. The U.S. is at -5 right now.
Keep in mind, goal differential. You should have scored a couple more goals. In what is it, 2006 or 2002? I don't remember the year. Colombia and Uruguay were dead set. Were tied in points, and what's his name? Uruguay had one more goal.
If the U.S. has something like 3 points going into the Azteca, then I'll say, all right, they're probably going to end up taking more chances. But this is a Bruce Arena team again, and they're going to be conservative. In fact, I'd be shocked if they're going to be even conservative at home against most of their teams. I don't see them being overly aggressive at all, especially with the limited time that they've had to work.
U.S. plays Honduras first, right?
Right.
And then they go
to Panama.
Panama's the team that's also giving them trouble. So
and they give them trouble in the U.S.
I don't think that every team's going to have the because last qualifiers Mexico was just pretty bad. Let's just be honest. And obviously the U.S. was doing good. Costa Rica was doing good. So and to obviously Honduras, but they gave themselves the possibilities of going into the Aztec Stadium and being able to play, park the bus and go out for the counters every here and there. I don't think that every team's going to have that luxury, and I think some of the teams are going to have to commit to the offense a little bit more, and obviously that's going to play into Mexico's favor.
I think I'd agree that some teams are going to be put in that position where they are going to have to take more chances, but I think they'll take those chances everywhere except Mexico.
I got a question based on a comment by Rafael de Leon from the chat. He says Mexico only really stomped minnows at Azteca. The Ticos, Catrachos, Gabachos never really got smashed at Azteca. Is that, for you historians, is that completely true?
Run that. The Ticos, the who?
Ticos, Catrachos, Gabachos never got smashed at Azteca.
The Catrachos have gotten smashed at Azteca somewhat. So have the.
Wait, what was when Aguirre was the coach? Was it?
Yeah, they beat him 3-0 to qualify for Jack.
It was It was a one win. It was a must win match for Honduras because They lost. They had lost at home to Trinidad.
No,
Yeah.
you remember that in 2009, that was Sven coached Mexico when they played Costa Rica, and they won 2-0. They had that just awesome playing partnership of Matias Vosso and Omar Bravo
Yeah.
were the two starting strikers and Omar Bravo scored. I think he scored both of them, if I'm not mistaken. And that was when he would go celebrate with his team, and they would make a train, right? They'd all get a train for like a conga, and they would go backwards.
So,
So
yeah,
Mexico,
I mean,
Mexico's the only team that celebrates by moving backwards.
Mexico has been the U.S. You know that they have spanked them, but it's funny in recent years they've scored more goals, like the 5-0, the 4-2, where they've run up the score. It's actually been in the U.S. where obviously the U.S. has to open up a little bit more because they're playing in quote unquote in their home turf,
Right.
But like I remember even in the like on the U23 team, on the U23 the qualifiers to go to what was it, Athens? Mexico beat them 4-0. Hell of a game too.
But and as far as recently, I think the U.S. and as far as playing in Azteca, probably the U.S. and Costa Rica are the ones that haven't really. It's cost Mexico a little more, although they really haven't had.
But they've also played a little bit more. They parked the bus because.
Well, of course, they play defensively because they're on the road. Because remember that home field advantage does not matter. So so they have to why, if it doesn't matter, then why do opposing teams play very conservatively when they're on the road?
So, yeah,
exactly.
So I mean,
he's talking to you,
US,
Beto. He's talking to you. Just making sure that you are aware of that.
But
I'm sorry.
As far as no, that's all right. It's all right. Wait, hang on a second. We can. Moving on.
You know what? The last time, one of the last times that Mexico spanked Costa Rica, was it the Gold Cup? Or was it in 2011?
In Chicago, I was at that game. That was the game where La Volpe was the coach.
Yeah.
And Andres Guardado scored 2 fantastic goals. Yeah,
He scored that beautiful volley. Oof.
And I should have asked him, but I wanted to ask, but La Volpe had like two questions and got the hell out. But I wanted to ask him. I said, you have the history of quote unquote discovering Guardado, and then he does this to you. I wanted to ask, were you happy or were you sad?
Yeah.
But I didn't want to, get into it with him as far as that. And honestly, I didn't know what the culture was. I don't know if it was polite or impolite to ask a player or a coach about another team. Hey, this guy just kicked your ass. Tell me about him. I don't know if that would offend a coach.
Yeah,
of course, I'm paraphrasing. I wouldn't ask it like that. But so it has happened. It just hasn't happened at the Azteca. Now we do have other qualifiers, and this is what's so great about qualifiers is there's 2 really good games on tomorrow. There is Argentina, Chile, and there's Brazil, Uruguay, which are 2 as good as you're going to get in the world of soccer. So I don't know if you guys are going to make time or get to watch that.
Probably not, John. I got a lot of work to do. I mean, I'll probably just maybe hear over the radio or something, but
Are they doing a day or an evening?
What's up?
I think that they do the same thing. I think that CONMEBOL staggers their start time so that all 5 are on. It's like a quintuple header. It's just a really. If you have time and soccer is your thing, you can watch 20 hours of soccer if you wanted to tomorrow, which is all the qualifiers from all over the world.
I haven't really kept up this year, this round or this set of qualifiers with the South American, the CONMEBOL. What's
Ronnie,
much out right now?
You could admit to us your secret shame that you stay up all night during qualifiers and watch the Asian qualifying. Watch Japan beat Uzbekistan at 3 a.m. It's okay, Ronnie. You can let us know.
Laos and Indonesia.
That's right. No, I think that Brazil is leading, and one of the big fish is right now in the outside the zone. But again, they have 10 more games to play, so they're just.
Is Venezuela in the mix still?
I think they are actually. I think that they're in the hunt.
They really choked away 2 away points today though. They were winning 2-1, and in stoppage time Peru was able to tie.
Really?
Yeah, so Peru was able to like salvage a point, and Venezuela just they just kind of pissed that away.
Venezuela is the only team now in South America that hasn't been to the World Cup.
That's right.
They're gonna get there though with the 40-team World Cup.
Yeah. So right now, it's Brazil, and then Uruguay, Ecuador, Chile, Argentina, Colombia, Paraguay, Peru, Bolivia, Venezuela. So Venezuela isn't dead.
What happened to the Peru of your childhood, John?
I don't know. It's just sad. They just can't seem to get it together, man. They were a fun team to watch. But even then, like especially in the second round in that World Cup, they just got drilled by both Poland and by Brazil. Just tied to the whipping post. It was rough.
They had a lot of those Peruvian players were playing in Mexico, like the guy that from Tigres, Barbadillo, and then you had
Uribe.
Muñante. You had Muñante in Pumas.
Didn't Uribe play in Mexico too?
Yeah, Juan Uribe played for a couple teams. I think played for a couple teams, and even what's his name? Their main star, their big one, their big guy. Cubillas, I know he played. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he played towards the end of his career, but I think he played in Monterrey, if I'm not mistaken.
I would have gone to see him play if I had the opportunity. That would have been great.
One of the things that I remember that I recall,
have you ever seen Cubillas' goal he scored against Scotland?
Yeah,
he pretends he's going to kick it with his left, and he kicks it with his right, and he totally gets
that was insane, dude. That was insane. But one of the things that I remember Cubillas, when the Mexico won the Under-17 World Cup, I remember reading an article about Cubillas, how the Mexican, what's his name, the coach, Jesus, what's his name? Chucho Ramirez. Yeah, Chucho Martinez. He actually invited Cubillas into the locker room to basically talk to his players and motivate them and stuff like that. And he was very pleased that Mexico had won the Under-17 World Cup, and he kind of was trashing his federation. It's like, it's like, look, I said, you have the Mexican guys, I did as a player and valuing my insight, and they kind of just forget about me.
That was unfortunate.
Yep.
Ronnie, really know how to just pull all the air out of the room there, Ronnie, with your sad, depressing, just really getting us all teary-eyed and misty.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Were you gonna play? Are you still gonna play that for Pumas though?
Oh yeah, well we'll get to it. Well, it's we got right now this is actually a good segue to talk about that. Ronnie, Pumas loses to America 3-2. It was a very entertaining, poorly played game. I'll just leave it at that. A lot of mistakes. I did get to watch I didn't get to watch the game live, but I did watch the 60-minute recap, and it just looked like it was. But America pulls it out, man. After Pumas had tied it.
The build-up to the first goal for Pumas was nice, dude. That little Rabona pass.
Right.
That
was very nice. And then, and that's the one thing I will say about Pumas is that I know we lost at home, but having that guy Castillo, man, he is just money right now. He's terrific. What a great striker he's turned out to be for them. It's exactly what they needed. Hopefully they can, just make the liguilla and just, turn him loose, see what he can do.
I know that America, right now they're not a contender. I know that. But one of the things that I'm liking.
See, I can't even make fun of you America music. I have to play the proper.
One of the things that I'm liking right now is that through injuries and through and obviously suspensions now, Mexico, the team is forced to go use their academy, their youth squad, and they're doing all right. They're doing all right. Obviously, they almost got in trouble because they were going to play that under 20 Costa Rican player who's actually in the Fuerzas Básicas, in America. They were gonna. He was ineligible because he's not registered for this, for this season. So I mean, they Mexico, or what's the name? America almost screwed the pooch on that one. But I don't know. It's just I hope hopefully they commit and they stick with the players that are coming in, coming out of the ranks.
Do you want Piojo to take over when La Volpe inevitably steps down at the end of the season?
As much as I'd like,
gun to your head, Piojo or Chiquis? Okay, better scenario, like in that Batman movie, both Chiquis and Piojo are tied to dynamite, and you can only save one of them.
You know what?
Who are you going to save?
Honestly, the press is going to be against Piojo. The press is going to be against Piojo. I was like, you know what? I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. He did for what he did to for what he did, because he's part of the reason. He's part of the reason why America, in the past couple of years, they've elevated and they've done.
Is he not though? I mean, could he not just play the role of the villain? I mean, who better to be the villain of Liga MX than Club America? And who better to have than that guy? I'm saying he would relish the role. He would relish the role.
That may be so, but I just look, whoever the coach is, I just want them to use the youth, not sign so many goddamn foreign players, and not. I mean, I have nothing against a lot of these foreign players, but it's just. I want a little bit more cohesive unit, and sometimes I feel that at times the team is not as cohesive as it should be. Like when Piojo had the team, he built not granted, not all of them were from Cantera and stuff like that, but it's players that he knew, players that he trusted, players that would basically, put their hands in the fire for Piojo, and I don't feel that La Volpe has that type of cohesion yet with his team. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's done a pretty good job. But
they should keep him. He brought in Diego Lainez. He brought in Edson. Edson. And I think they should keep him.
They asked La Volpe about it, and this is it.
Yo siempre digo que el fútbol algunas veces, en mi punto de vista, es como un ajedrez.
I think who screwed up is Peláez, or whoever made the decision of giving up those two players.
Romano.
And screwing up the whole team.
Yeah.
So I
think the worst thing that happened that could have happened was the goddamn Centenario. I mean, it's just another reason to bitch, for the press to just to bitch about it. And it's like, you know what? I don't give a shit about goddamn Centenario, dude. I let the team build.
I know you say this, Ron, but if America would have won, and but and then the best part was that they won under Centenario.
Nah.
The Centenario way.
Nah.
Exactly. And then because they had that beautiful song, Ron, that you could play forever and ever in your heart, because they won during the Centenario.
That was so fucking gay.
But I did. And then Chivas, we can now that we've said our piece.
But hey, going back to the Centenario, are they giving Toluca a lot of crap about the Centenario?
Yeah, they make them eat a big bowl of it every day on every newspaper in Mexico.
No, they haven't. It's like they're not even busting their balls about it. Really,
they were just. But what ball busting was happening when it was America Centenario? Do you think every question was? So, do you feel like you have to win the championship because it's your Centenario? They're not asking those questions.
I thought.
Están obligados a ganar el campeonato aquí en este año, su año de su centenario.
That was the big topic.
But they lost in the final to penalties. So what was? How did it affect the team?
Nothing, not at all.
Exactly. So what's the big deal?
Blabbermouth. That's another thing. Just like the fans shouldn't affect you, whether they're pro or negative against you. The press shouldn't affect you.
Joel, do you think we should change the subject?
Chickies, although press can affect you, man.
We change what?
Did you want to change the subject, Joel?
Yeah,
Did you want to? Huh? You want to? Joel, did you tell us earlier that you actually watched some of the Veracruz game?
Yeah, but I missed the goals.
But you saw the goals.
I missed. Oh. Yeah, I saw them. No, I didn't.
You didn't see. You haven't seen the goals yet, so you are unaware of how Chivas won that game.
Yes. Yeah. They won. That was all that mattered.
Are we sensing a rekindling of your romance with Chivas, Joel, or are you still rejecting their advances?
No, I think they're they're just where they have been for a long time. It doesn't count till the end of the season. If they win something, that's when I'll celebrate. But just playing good, that's just
No, please elaborate, Joel. I know that you want to have your little moment of catharsis here on the CantinaMX podcast. Where you can unload a few more bricks on your love-hate relationship with Chivas. So please, you can go on a little bit more if you want.
No, I mean, it's nice seeing the Super Liderato. It's 2 weeks now. The first week was tied at points, 17 with Pachuca, and they extended that super lead by 1 whole point this week. So they're at 20 points with, I believe it's Monterrey and possibly Tijuana
and
at
they
19.
play each other. They play each other in the Copa MX semifinals, which is,
Yes.
It's basically Liga MX, executives, private fantasy, two popular teams that. Although, is it in Estadio Chivas?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because if it is, then they're going to make the Regios pay the fee to watch it.
Pay the fee again.
Yep.
And speaking of fees, they were charged again from Profeco, is it? The consumer,
Yeah.
the Mexican consumer.
For providing bad service for what you're.
Yeah, because even with what is it, Claro Video, it crashed. Yeah, pretty much, man.
Hey, Joel, I noticed that you kept talking about, you kept, mentioning the Super Liderato and the Super Leader and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you trying to reel somebody in? Are you trying to bait somebody?
I was, but they won't be available. No, just making fun of the whole notion of Super Liderato, 1 point lead. It's
despite of that,
ridiculous.
Despite of that, Joel, you have to be. I know that you have your baggage, but you have to be happy with the fact that they're playing well.
They have been, but like I said, they've been playing well for quite a while now. They've gotten results here and there. People forget Chivas had reached the semifinals under Chepo, so it's like.
But that was like 2 years ago, dude. It's a totally different team.
But that's what I'm saying, though. For me to be, is like, I'm not gonna get excited just because they're playing entertaining soccer. It's like you need to surpass.
Your excitement would only be enhanced if they either met or exceeded what Chepo did.
Exactly. Not just because of him, just because it's that showed what the team was capable of at that point, and it hasn't been progress if they haven't been able to equal that.
Well,
it gets, we just don't see it like that because we have the Copa MX and then the other cup, the Super Copa MX. So then
what the hell is a Super Copa MX?
Is that Boca Juniors one?
Is that like one of those level 5 Chivas tournaments
That's the winner of the Apertura Clausura Copa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they beat the Veracruz team. So then the team's looking like it's winning, but I mean the trophy that counts is gonna be the Liga MX. That's the main one. No one's gonna care at the end of the day if how many Copa MX or Super Copa MX this guy wins. And so for me, I just try not to get ahead of myself. And I had at the start of the season I had Chivas doing good, so I'm not even surprised.
So what is like?
You did pick them to win the tournament, so you're like.
What is like Ronnie with Osorio? He wants them to win the league. Ronnie wants Mexico to win the
World Cup. If they win the World Cup, then I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed if they win the World Cup.
You know what? You know what, Chiquis? Almeida actually he raised the bar. Because he said he was gonna leave a team that was gonna be he said he was gonna like I'm at a loss for words now, man. I forgot.
Gonna be legendary.
Well, it's because he's playing so well that he's made a believer of you. Is what it sounds like to me.
No. I think he went ahead of himself by making those claims. I mean, if he wins 1 or 2 league titles, that's not gonna make him, that's not gonna make him legendary.
I was skeptical.
I think for him to make to have a legendary career at Chivas, I think that he would have to form the national team, and the national team win. The national team win the players from Chivas. Basically, lift up the national team, win some silverware. But he would also have to win some league silverware and international, because Chivas hasn't won an international title since I think the Mickey Mouse Cup of what was it, 98, I think. Was it?
What Mickey Mouse Cup?
He was in the Gold Cup.
What's that?
Chivas Space team could win the Gold Cup this summer. And it's Mickey Mouse and everything, but it's still
the Space Cup. What's the Space?
I believe Osorio said he's not calling up the Chivas.
That is the dumbest thing that anybody could possibly say. I'll tell you what, if Osorio wins Liga MX, I'm sorry, if Almeida wins Liga MX with Chivas, and let's just say things start going wrong, if they brought him in, Joel, would he just say, you know what, I got a team right now? And I'm not saying all 11 of them, but that I'm going to use as my base because you guys play together. Do you think that he would go that way if things were at a critical condition?
Wait, if they brought who in?
Almeida.
Wait, for national team coach?
Yeah, if things went terribly wrong.
Wait, yeah, my mind's having a hard time.
Things went wrong with
together, man.
And they brought in Almeida.
Yeah, if they brought in Almeida to replace it, would he just go to his guys and go, hey, you're going to be my base, and we'll sprinkle some guys around you because we got to win these games?
Probably for the first few games, yeah. Very similar to what Piojo did.
Not for a first, not for like a real competition, but for a Molero maybe. I think Chivas is still like the B team.
Yeah, well, they are the Selección B team. A lot of these guys have that potential to maybe next cycle challenge for a spot in the first team.
Although some players could be in the first team, like La Chofis, Orbelin, and
wait, could be in the first team. Who would you bench for La Chofis?
Would be bench. They'd be bench players. They'd be competitive in the first team.
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather have coming off the bench? La Chofis or what's that guy's name from Tigres? Not Güemes. Is it Güemes? No, Güemes is the guy from America. Dueñas, yeah. I mean,
yeah. Even
so, yeah, he could bench some guys for sure. But Orbelin is on, and I fully expect him to start. I fully expect him to be in Guardado's place, who's injured, and then we have There was somebody else that was injured this week. Was it Moreno or was there somebody else?
Guardado isn't playing. Tecatito isn't. Oh, Moreno was reported, but then I think it was just a precaution. And he's
Oh. Yeah, so soccer players are a lot like track athletes that if they feel anything, I mean, and it's understandable. I mean, they run for, 10 miles or whatever it is during a game. So, but yeah, any kind of twinge and they ain't playing. So
they got to take their rest days.
I'm sure that Guardado will be magically cured by the time he gets back to Eindhoven. I have a feeling he'll have the FIFA virus.
Yeah, going back to Chivas though, I watched the Veracruz game, and Veracruz is Veracruz, and so I was skeptical. They came out, sort of competitive. Veracruz did, but Chivas put them away later on, and so I'm being turned to the Chivas fan. As
you are like the ultimate Villamelon, man. It's from one team to the next.
Not a fan, but like I'm believing in
the Cambia Rayas.
Even Pulido. Did you see Pulido? You got to see Pulido's goal. Well, he took it really from half field, midfield.
Beto no longer is a Cambia Ray. He's a Cambia Casaca.
He's Cambia todo. He's the omnican.
Cambia Casaca.
He's mil máscaras.
He's the ultimate chameleon.
Mil máscaras from mil pitos.
Mil casacas. From mil pitos. Oh shit!
I'm glad to hate on them and stuff, but this game and the recent, I'm losing reasons to hate them.
Would it shock you, Chiquis, if I'm kind of right there with you? I mean, I enjoy watching them play. I enjoy their games. They're going to be entertaining. They're not necessarily going to they're going to score, but they're going to die trying, and they're fun to watch.
There was this quote from Tata Martino when Almeida was in Argentina, and he said he really enjoys watching. I believe it was Banfield. He's like, I like watching Banfield play. It's too bad they never win anything.
Yeah.
He was talking about Almeida's team.
That doesn't. Yeah, he was talking about Almeida's team, so I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, see, that's the whole point. I don't have a dog in the hunt. I just like watching the games. They're fun to watch.
No, yeah, that's something about Almeida, and I could see him staying in Liga MX for a long time. I think I think he's staying. I thought he was trying to like jump ship, get back to Europe.
I've got to tell you, I'm just every time you come on, I feel like the red light, like an ET when he knew he was coming home, the little red light came on. I think that's what's happening to you, Joel. I think that you're sensing that the red light's coming on, and you're gonna go back home.
It's taken a while. No. It's taken him a while, John. But
there is no home.
He's sipping on the Kool-Aid now.
Yeah, I mean, you've noticed it, right, Dan? I mean, it just every week, just little by little,
there is no home, John.
This self-loathing facade is being chipped away, and then
not only that, he actually predicted that they'll win the league. So that alone, I was like, oh wow, that came out of nowhere.
Pero Dan, eso lo hizo como un ejercicio periodístico.
Yes, exactly.
I remember his argument. The team's been together a while. They've made some additions. They've had some continuity. So like it's set up for them to win now.
Some of the stronger teams were gonna have some problems, like Tigres and America.
Right.
Although they're catching up right now, but
which again, who said that was going to happen, Joel?
Yes, I believe that was John.
No, it was both of us. Both of us.
Yeah, the gentleman agreement.
That's right.
Exactly right. But yeah, no, there is no home, man. That's the sad truth of it. A team belonged to the Pueblo, now it belongs to Vergara. It's whatever he wants it to be. So that's the sad part for me, It's not there.
So the only way you'll give them your undivided attention is if they win you a championship.
No, not even, man. I just don't. And Chivas is gone, dude. I like the team. You know what it stood for, but it's now it's no longer really a club. It's that
now
dude's
Chivas Inc.
pretty much. It's up to whatever this guy wants.
It's
He moved it from
it's Chivas de Corazón.
It's true.
Technically, the club still exists.
Wow, so he's like the usurper, the usurper's brother. What's his name? Stannis. Where it's really Chivas de Corazón, which is like wasn't that his thing? Was the heart? Because he was wasn't that his what they call those, the sigils or his banners?
Oh.
Yeah.
So is Jorge Vergara the Stannis Baratheon of Liga MX?
No, they're more like the other ones. The fake. What was it?
Who, Chivas?
Who,
the Lannisters?
Yeah, there you go.
No,
they're like the Lannisters. Yeah, because see, the Lannister kids, which was Tommen and the other guy, they're posing as Baratheons, but they're not.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that's Chivas right now.
To make matters worse,
man.
And to make matters worse, when he paid off the socios, he basically paid them with their money.
He did the TV money, right? From
he did the old switcheroo, his classic switcheroo.
Switcheroo. Yeah.
And he the courts in Guadalajara 3 times they have ruled in favor of the dude. What's his name? Cárdenas. That the team belongs to the nonprofit one. The Club.
That would be right there the good article, because when all of this was going on, and I remember when Vergara came, and I was in team. I was in Team Vergara. I was all in, dude, and
I repost the Fútbol Total magazine that I have, where it says el proyecto ambicioso de Jorge Vergara.
Cárdenas, but as the years have gone by, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the real good guy right here, man. He's the one guy that was fighting for it.
You were lured by the complex, the JVC complex that he was going to build, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, what's happened to the entertainment complex that's being built next to the stadium?
I asked good friend Tom that goes to covers Chivas on a bi-weekly basis, and I said, hey, is there any other buildings going on? And he says it's abandoned. It's basically just the stadium. So the stadium was supposed to kickstart the whole project, and they had like this world-class architects that did all these buildings because they were going to be a museum. And
did they have pretty drawings?
Yeah, there was a whole website for the JVC.
Did they have did they have computer rendering animation to show you how pretty it was going to be?
Yeah,
I can do those, by the way, now.
Ron actually posted that a long time ago.
See, but
Ron was still looking there.
But back then, I wasn't allowed to talk about it because people thought of it as me hating.
You know what? I was in that boat, Ron.
But
I admit it. I was on that boat. I thought
el tiempo le da la razón.
But part of Ron was hating, though.
No, I wasn't. I was not hating. Everything that I posted, I was providing links.
It's true. It is true.
So I mean, it could have come across as hating, but I was providing actual documentation, links that Vergara was doing, man.
You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
Yeah, no, this dude is it's obvious he's gonna do whatever he wants at the club. He moved it, and assistant's still not that great, And then he took him out of TV. He put him on on the internet.
My favorite was we're not gonna prostitute the jersey, and then the next season there's he prostitutes the jersey. I mean,
to Bimbo. Yeah, Bimbo came in.
Yeah, that was to me.
He dropped a big load of cash.
That was classic.
So he did not prostitute the team, and he put Bimbo on the shirt.
Yeah, That was awesome.
Interesting.
Or when he said, no more soda being sold at the stadium because I want the fans to be healthy. So just
Did he serve
Chua Cola.
Omni Life?
Yeah, the Chua Cola, which I don't know what happened to that. And then
Do you not
after
have
like 2
a
years,
special commemorative bottle of Chiva Cola?
Exactly. I was never able to get a hold of it, man. I wanted to
How-
try it.
Now, when you go to
I
eBay,
imagine it
Joel,
tasted like RC Cola.
when you go
Guys,
to
for the
when-
life of me, John.
yes,
I still don't know what Health Omni Life does, or I don't see how they sell their products. I'm thinking it's a front, dude.
It is Ponzi scheme.
I'm still a firm. Like they had an Omni Life office in Houston. I went there like once or twice, and I'm like, what the hell? Place was never open, dude.
well, isn't it like
fishing sign?
an Amway? Isn't that what Omni Life is? It's just products of their own products.
Yeah, it's a pyramid.
Yeah, it's
Think.
and
Yeah, they do the whole Herbalife thing because Vergara worked at Herbalife, and he knew the owner, and he was trying to get him to. He said, if you could switch it up to powders, because he said like Latin Americans would be more willing to do powders and like supplement pills, and the guy didn't want it. So he ended up just doing it himself because the owner just didn't buy in.
If you follow Vergara on Instagram or Twitter, I think he posted videos of some of the products. Quite boring.
I thought he would convince you, Chiquis, to.
Yeah, I thought
diet.
Chiquis was getting ready to give us the pitch.
No, I go
Guys, they have a really good dishwash soap, and is somebody like driving and they're stuck with their turning signal?
Yeah.
me.
No,
Sorry about that.
but that's pretty much Chivas now. It stopped being a club, and it's more of a, it's part of a company now, and that guy's gonna use it however he sees fit for other benefits. His best interests aren't really with the club or the fans, as much as he would say that stuff. So who knows, man? Who knows? This is to me what he's like the third owner I've known.
Personally, Joel, are you really
No, not personally, but
in the
you know what
Pacto
I
de
mean.
Caballeros? Because I'm starting to think that you are.
No, I've just seen behind the curtain, and then when you get disappointed,
Well, it's
the
just
great and
it's
powerful us is
it's
not
just a
there.
show. It's just a show.
Hey, John or Chiquis, can you download that song "El Me Mintió" by Mando Miguel and just kind of play it really soft?
No, but
So
see,
you want to save this for the Pumas then?
No, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. So,
Yeah, get the song "El Me Mintió," please, and just play it while he talks.
which Ron's enjoying this a bit too much.
hey, Ron's
No,
had
but
Ron's had a good week. Ron's had a good week.
You want your owners to at least have a good connection with the club. I could see it with America. It's been with the family. With the I forget their names right now, man.
The Vergara family.
Los Carragas. No, I'm talking about America. So you could tell there's that investment. That they care about the team.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, this guy would sell it, man. He just, I don't know what he's doing. He sold half of the team. He got it back because his wife was appropriating funds. Who knows what's going on with this other guy, which is Higuera. So who knows what will happen. But so it's hard to place my time and energy on the club that it
Well,
just.
you saw behind. So is that the curtain you saw behind? Did you see? Did you
But
see
just
the monster?
the overall football curtain, just the way how a lot of clubs are run.
So it wasn't specifically like something like you walked in on Chivas,
He walked in on Chivas.
oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, you're ruined for me forever, and you ran out of the house.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now I do want to ask Dan because Dan, did you get a chance to go catch the Santos Cholos match? Being that it was right down the street from you.
I did not.
No? It's
No,
unfortunate.
I went to California Adventure with the family.
Oh, okay. Well, that was you
Yeah.
probably would have had a better time there anyway. But
Yeah, actually,
yeah. But they did it again, man. That's
They did it
gotta
again.
be. Ugh.
I don't know. I guess I'm still maybe blindly optimistic at this point, but I'm still thinking, like they're just like just fractions away from figuring it out and starting to win and getting wins. So like if there's still time.
Oh yeah.
There's still time. So that's the one thing that I still think that there's time to tweak a couple things to try to, and maybe getting bounced out of the Copa is going to help some of those starters that were playing both matches weekly.
Right.
Maybe there'll be just that teeny bit fresher leg to hold on to the win. I don't know, but
maybe they could
it's
give those
disappointing.
those 220 those 19-year-olds a shot. Was it Cardenas? Is that his name? Ronaldo
Cisneros.
Cardenas, Cisneros, and then the other guy was it Antuna?
Yeah,
bring those guys off the bench, see what they can do.
Yeah, they're going to be getting more chances. Definitely, the more that the team, because you could blame it on late goals that is rough, but also that wouldn't be an issue if you had a 2-goal lead.
Right.
So I think if there were some more goals being scored, I think it would actually naturally fix a lot of those issues.
But see, that's why sometimes I don't understand coaches, because I mean the dude is obviously hot. I mean he had a great tournament, even though they didn't necessarily win the tournament itself. They qualified. He was one of the big reason why they did. He scored 6 or 7 goals or whatever it was, and then let him see what he can do. Throw him out there. Throw him out to the wolves.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's definitely. I think the results are going to force the hand. So.
Well, let's.
Yeah, it's definitely disappointing.
But I will say this: I think this is something that you, as a Santos fan, and Ronnie's an America fan, I think can take solace in. Is that the Liguilla teams always favor the ones that come in with a lot of momentum, and both teams are positioned to start acquiring a lot of momentum. And if you get that, then you have a very realistic chance of winning the whole thing.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to say that's one thing that I think might end up hurting Chivas, is that maybe they might peak too soon. But because it's rare to see a team just be dominant throughout and then win the league. It's rare when you see that.
Speaking of Chivas, where is our?
He's been missing in action.
Yeah, it's unido. We haven't had a Chiva contra Chiva in a while.
Wait, I just want to say, Dan, Chivas hasn't really been dominant. They just won the games they've had to win, but they haven't truly been dominant.
Yeah, I wouldn't say dominant, but the fact of the matter is that they are at the top of the league, so they are at least from a points perspective.
By 1 point.
See, this is close enough. This isn't Chi. This is Chepo contra Chepo. That's
Chepo contra Chepo. No,
I'm with you. I'm with you. But I just think that even still, it almost seems like you don't want to be in first place ever if you're in the Mexican League. It seems like
I will say
this. You want to just not eke into the playoffs, but you want to figure it out maybe 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time.
But teams have won. Teams that have finished top 3 have won.
Doesn't it depend on how? Well, yeah, the top 2 and 3 teams do really well because the number 1 is gone all the time. But I mean, you always have to look at how the teams are playing when they get there, because Tijuana was the number 1 team, but they were playing very poorly at the end of the season, and they played poorly in the Liguilla. So, I mean, I do believe that if you're, I mean, there's how often do we see one or 2 teams just so head and shoulders above the rest of Liga MX? Say like, oh, there's still question that these 2 teams are going to make the final. It's just they're so much better. That never happens because every team is so evenly balanced. I mean,
I think Tigres has flirted with that during certain moments, but yeah, they haven't been able to put any consistency with that. I mean, the fact that they take that they sit out the first half of the regular season.
Right. I mean, there's been like little mini dynasties, at least in the Liguilla era. I mean, America was dominant. Cruz Azul
Toluca.
was too, and Toluca, especially in the torneos cortos. But now there's just there's the teams are so evenly matched that there's just a lot more. You know, there's no reason why people should be shocked that an 8 team beats a 1 team. It just, you know. So, well, we're hanging in there for you for you know, because we do want to see your little kid with the Santos. The Santos.
Yes.
Do you know, I was gonna mention it. I just remembered right now, but that was the one game I was looking forward. The Chivas Tigres, and you know we didn't get to watch it because of the strike.
The strike.
But
That's right. You
think
missed
that-
our show last week. You missed our
That
show
would
last
have,
week.
you know, that would have given me a pretty good. That would have been a good measuring stick. Because last season Chivas finished high, but they failed to beat the better teams. You
Well,
know,
are they going to make
the
it up?
teams that were the stronger teams.
Are they going to
Yeah,
make it up?
sure. Oh, I don't even know. I haven't paid attention to that.
I think they did reschedule them. I forget the date though.
Oh, good. So we'll get midweek soccer. Those are always fun.
Yeah. So I mean, they beat Veracruz, but Veracruz is a mess. They're a hot mess right now.
In last, and they are the super sotaneros.
And there's more stuff going on, you know, behind.
I mean, is it
with the owners? I think
extra
they were
cancha?
trying to sell the team. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. I think that ended up affecting them because, you know, at least they would have been putting a stronger fight.
I think the federation, a lot of the owners probably want Cudi out of there too.
Yeah, so I think that's been a big thing where it's like they probably know it, so they're like, "Fuck it," you know.
What is the deal with Veracruz? I think Ronnie, you've made mention of it. I mean, they, for whatever reason, have just. I mean, as far as getting a club team there, man, they have a lot of pull with the Federación. They really do. They are, for whatever reason, they just. I mean, because the reason that team is there is because when La Piedad came up in 2013, Veracruz just straight up bottom said, "You're coming to Veracruz," and that's
In the last 10, 15 years that, you know, that team has gone through different ownership changes, and also, you know, remember, and I think we mentioned it a couple of weeks back, you know, that, you know, there was a team playing as Tiburones Rojos, but then when the real Tiburones Rojos basically
I remember that
was promoted, the other one they changed, they went elsewhere, and then it's a shame because historically Veracruz has been one of the pioneers in Mexican football. So obviously that history that it has, unfortunately, I just don't think that the owners have treated the club the way it should be treated. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame because I like that there's soccer in the Port of Veracruz. You know.
And I got to tell you, I'm a big fan. I mean, I know that the fans themselves can get pretty rowdy and. But I'm a big fan of I think their stadium is fantastic because it puts the fans right there.
Yes,
I mean, they are right there. I know it's like 25, 30,000, but it looks like a really cool place to watch a game.
I wish that I hope that they refurbish it, you know, and you know, really, you know, maybe even put a roof on. But I love that stadium.
Yeah, it is a pretty cool stadium, and it always looks really great when it was full. And that was the one thing I did notice about the Pumas America game is that it was a sellout. It was a good looking crowd, but unfortunately for me and for all Pumas fans all over the world, we had to just take it at the end with America winning. Oof, it was not pleasant, but it happens, and you know, like we said last season, you know, you can win the battles as long as we win the war. That's what matters. So we.
Defense needs to be overhauled at Pumas.
Yeah, well, old Dario Veron is he's been great, but it's time for him to hang him up, or at least you can keep playing, you just can't play here. give him his adios. He can go back to
Puma
Paraguay.
seems to give their players a long time, right?
Well, they've always been real loyal to their.
Seemed like Leandro played there for decades.
Yeah, I mean the goalie Beltran was there forever. And then some guys, even when they start, they occasionally come back.
Youth, even the youth like Van Rankin. I remember people complaining about him a while back, and he's still in there.
Is Veron trying to get a gig with the club after retirement?
I'm not sure. I haven't really heard anything of the sort, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, I would like it if he did. I mean, it's I think if you spend the majority, the bulk of your career in Mexico, it would make sense that if you want to continue your career, to do it in a league where you played. So I would have absolutely no problem. And that's why when people say that, we have XX foreign coaches in the league, the reality is, yeah, they might be foreign because they were born somewhere else. But I mean, as far as like knowing Mexican soccer, I mean, they're as Mexican as anybody else because they know the league inside and out. So I've never understood that.
To play that long with an institution of the importance of Pumas, the guy, man, he's earned his bones, dude.
Yeah, there's no question. Yeah, he's been a terrific Puma.
Yeah, he has. He's earned his bones, man. He deserves. He has my respect. He has my respect. What was it? Him or was it Canisa that in Mexico when they played Mexico? He got just level, dude. Was it? I don't remember. I think it was in the Copa America that.
I saw Veron got wiped out a few times, but I don't know anything that was like terribly memorable though.
I think he got like knocked out. If I recall, he was like unconscious.
I do remember him having to play because one of their in the 2010 World Cup, one of their guys got card accumulation, so he had to sit out, and so Veron had to come in, and his game was Spain, and he played his ass off, and Spain ended up winning, but he shut them down pretty good, and the game of his life. I mean, he played really well.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was good to see a Puma playing in a game of such import. And damn, Paraguay, they should have won that game. Y'all remember that game?
Yes. Yes.
Were you there, Ronnie? Did you go to that one?
The only Spain game that I watched live in that World Cup was actually Spain versus Honduras. That I was, if I'm not mistaken, if memory serves me, that was played not in Pretoria, in the other stadium in Johannesburg,
Soccer
Ellis,
City. The Ellis Park.
Ellis Park, if I'm not mistaken.
The rugby stadium.
Ellis Park. I saw. Which is there? I saw what was it? North Korea, Brazil. There, I saw. Oh, I forget. I saw like 3 matches there. I don't remember. I'd have to think about it again. But no, yeah.
Well, we don't want you to use your brain now. I mean, come on now.
Yeah, but you know what? I really enjoyed that stadium. Ellis.
It's an old rugby stadium, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where the I think if my memory serves me, that's where they won the Rugby World Cup in what was it, '95, I think.
The Springboks.
The Springboks, yep. But yeah. Speaking of Paraguay, it was actually in the 2006 World Cup. I'm not gonna lie, but this was one of the most entertaining matches that I saw in that particular World Cup. Was actually a match between Paraguay and, believe it or not, Trinidad and Tobago, dude.
It's funny you mentioned that because I liked that game, and I also was in 2006 when Tunisia played Saudi Arabia. It was just thrilling end-to-end action. It was a really good game. But I guarantee you, no one watched it.
Did you guys get some envelopes from Infantino?
Well,
no. What?
Well, Joel, I mean,
seem to be promoting the Molero World Cup game.
They played for nothing.
For that party.
Yeah, they had both already been eliminated, so they just went out and played.
Because look, it's the second World Cup game that I watched in Germany, in Germany was Paraguay. Because the first day was Germany Costa Rica. That I went to, that I watched, and then I think the next day, if memory serves me, I was at the England Paraguay, and that to me was just a boring game.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Does that mean we have a caller, Chiquis?
Oh no, sorry, that was a different sound.
Was that a different ding?
Yeah, that was
So
So yeah, but I will say this, that the most boring game that I've ever witnessed live was at the World Cup, and it was between the what was it, the Netherlands and the no, yeah, it was Netherlands and what was it, Denmark, and that's the match where they caught a lot of that brewery in the Netherlands or whatever. They caught a lot of crap because they were doing flash marketing where they had
Heineken?
no, they hired this beer company hired a bunch of models, and they were dressed in all
Oh, yeah.
in orange. Do you remember
I
that?
remember seeing the picture. Yeah, I remember seeing the picture.
I posted pictures of that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
I
Most,
posted,
most boring game I saw on that World Cup was France versus South Korea. I was at the stadium and I wanted to see Sisu, but he was playing injured. The game was just boring.
You know what the best part about that game was? It was refereed by Benito Archundia.
I have no idea, man.
and yes, it's funny.
That's how pathetic I am. I could tell you what games the Mexican refs have refed.
And another boring game that I watched was and I to this day I don't forget, I don't forgive myself on this one, but I had figured, I figured.
Well, this must be really bad if you have to preface
No.
your story
When I was setting up, the games I was going to attend to in the World Cup, I figured that Mexico was already going to be qualified along with Portugal, leading up to the last match. I thought that they were going to, have the 6 points, whatever, and that they were just going to showboat it, or hot dog it the last match. So I didn't watch Mexico Portugal. I watched Mexico against Iran. I saw Mexico versus the Angola. Because that same day when Mexico played Portugal, Argentina played Holland, the Netherlands, and I told myself, you know what, this is probably going to be a do or die match for these guys. I said I need to go to this game, and I regretted it because
It's terrible.
It was, dude. It was fucking terrible.
I'm sure that this is riveting radio for our audience to listen to. Hey, let me tell you about this other crappy game I went to.
Well, it's funny. I kind of remember those because I was let down, dude.
Yeah, no, I understand. I've experienced my fair share of bad games. I did that the first Argentina Chile Copa America. It was the same thing. It was just like, ugh, this game was just awful. It's bad. So,
but
not as bad as that. That was a grade A, just steaming turd. There's no question.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Changing subjects. What did you guys? What's your take on? Because obviously there's the Mexican press. They're something else, but they made international headlines. Obviously.
Oh, with the guy stealing the shirt.
What an idiot! That guy's never gonna work again, ever.
And the fact that he'd done it 3 times, man, that was just. What is if you guys have ever seen the footage of when Brazil when they won the World Cup, and the fans get on the field and they carry Pelé and everything.
Yeah.
You notice what Pelé's not wearing is his shirt.
Yeah.
Someone ripped his shirt off. So it's just I guess it's a cultural thing. The guy wins some. Oh, I got to take your shirt. Now, was he nice enough to leave his Oxford, hanging there, because he goes, oh yeah, let's trade shirts, and he gave Tom his shirt.
So he took 2 of his shirts from Super Bowl.
Yeah, and one from 2005. So I thought it may boy, I guess 2 for sure. I'm not sure about the one in 2005, but he definitely took 2 for sure.
Jesus.
And he was like the gerente, wasn't he, like the head guy?
He was the
mero.
He was the editor. He's the chief editor of that division of for that newspaper for sports. What an idiot!
Wow.
What is the appropriate picture? Is deportation triggering or something?
yeah. You had to have, it's like I was laughing reading all those memes.
Could you imagine just the? I mean, you guys have been in the Zona Mixta and all that stuff. I mean, how on earth? I mean, would you ever consider doing anything like that? Oh, hey, look! Oh, look! Chicharito left his sock. I'm gonna grab it. I mean, seriously.
This is what I would take. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. In fact, Carlos Albert did this with me. We had taken down some posters of 2006 World Cup posters. But they were on the wall with thumbtacks and stuff like that, and people were just taking stuff like that. Like little stuff like that. But as far as like going into the locker rooms, dude, I've never asked for an autograph in the games. Now, when like the teams would go practice like at Robertson Stadium, and like I'd go to Pumas and stuff, Pumas and America and stuff like that. I would some of the players that that I would see throughout the couple of days that they were there. I would like, for example, I would get their autographs, or I would get them to sign like magazines, that I have. But never at the stadium, dude. I mean, I never wanted to risk losing my credentials,
This guy was taking selfies before with players and stuff, and he you guys see the video? He premeditatedly did that. That was his whole purpose of even probably going to the game.
Well, yeah. Notice how he had his necktie covering his credentials.
Yeah, that was slick, man.
Wow. So he was casing the joint, made his plans. He knew where the camera was.
Well, he walked in behind like the head coach and the staff, so he tried to mix in with them. Got in, boom, he was in. And then he looked at the camera, looked directly at the camera. He knew exactly what he was doing, and
wow,
did it really good.
It's I don't think whether he's a Mexican or whatever. To me, he's just a straight up dumbass.
Yeah.
It's like, there's.
You think he'll see jail time?
For what?
It's a felony, dude.
Where in the state? Where they're gonna extradite him because he took Tom Brady's jersey? No.
You don't think so?
No.
If it was Piojo, they would have.
Why on earth would they extradite a Mexican when they want to get rid of the Mexican criminals anyway?
If it was Piojo, they would have. Piojo was cussing out a fan and told him to meet him outside in the parking lot.
Did Piojo meet him outside?
The guy was probably scared.
Solo pendejo que me ataca.
Oh, perfect. But the commission is going after.
Is that what he said? Is that?
Well, he said.
Solo pendejo que me ataca.
That was something else. But no, he was telling the guy, "Meet me outside," or tell me that to my face outside, or something like that. And then, and now they're looking at him when Tuca did the same thing to a whole bunch of fans, and they didn't do nothing. So people are just hating Piojo.
It's because Tuca's earned the right, dude. Tuca can, he can do whatever he wants. He has omni Tuca powers.
Yeah.
He has what's that company that runs Tigres?
CEMEX?
Sinergia Deportiva.
Yeah, Sinergia. The all the top brass supposedly are real, close friends with Tuca.
Yeah.
Tuca ain't dumb.
No. Tuca's not dumb, dude. He protects the Pacto de Caballeros.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. He protects that, and he's not stupid, dude. He knows how to play the game. The political game.
That's why I think he'd be a perfect national team coach. That's why I'm hoping on the off chance that he gets to. I hope he does. I think he more as much as anybody deserves it. He's had a career as long as some other guys, but he wins. So, and the players love him. On top of that, that's what's so amazing is that he has such a grouchy persona outside of the locker room, but inside the locker room, this players just go nuts for him. They absolutely adore him.
Yeah, and one of the funny bits that I saw a couple months back, when they had the gasolinazo or whatever.
Right?
He's
Yeah. He
complaining
yells at the
about
guy.
gas. He's complaining about gas prices, and the fucker's driving a goddamn Ferrari. But he was being, funny about it. I
Right.
thought that was that's like classic Tuca. It was like, dude, that was hilarious.
Yeah. And I mean, Tuca's so smart because he does all these. All he has to do is just get mad at one guy, and for a week, all the people are going to talk about, oh, Tuca went out. And exactly. He just takes all the pressure off his team. I mean, they just he's masterful at it. He's so good at it.
Yeah,
I would love to
you
see
know,
him.
he did it when they were saying Tigres was going through a crisis because he tried to do the same thing, and he squashed it pretty quick.
He's a master.
Y usted no me va a decir qué carajo tengo que hacer.
I just so amazed, when I hear that, it's like, I hear him snap at reporters. I mean, other coaches, they do that. They're gonna have, the press. They're gonna
Hey,
try to
to Tuca's credit, when he did that and he ran off, he came back 20 minutes later, apologized. Hey, I got a little hot headed. I'm here to answer y'all's questions. And he went back and he took his questions.
But that's not the first time he's done that. Where he starts,
But it's all part of the act. I'm telling you, Tuca gets away with it because he wins and because he's Tuca. I mean, people probably ask him questions kind of halfway, kind of hoping that they get that reaction.
of course. I know for a fact that they do.
Yeah, because schleps like me like playing.
¡Cállese, carajo!
Because it's hilarious.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I also kind of let up on La Volpe, because seeing sometimes, firsthand the questions that they would ask him and how they would ask, it's like you kind of like, dude, really? It's like you're trying to get it just to rise out of the coach, or you're just trying to cause more bullshit,
And to his credit, he hasn't done it at all while he's been in America. He's been very very laid back. He hasn't, he did the one thing with the Cruz Azul guy, which was a calculated move, and it worked.
Yeah.
And but as far as exploding against the press or picking fights with people, he just has. It's been no drama from La Volpe. It's kind of disappointing because he just doesn't. He's not giving you what you want, Ronnie. You want the want the controversy.
Not really. I'd rather just, for him being, I think this is going to be his last hurrah. I'd like it for him to end it well.
Would be the great way for him to end it is to do a retirement tour and coach the teams that he never won a championship with.
All of them. Well, shit,
they'd have to one by one.
They'd have to bring back what is it, Oaxtepec, or I think
Oaxtepec.
Yeah, Oaxtepec. That's who he started with. Yeah.
Really, I've that was one of my my school trips when I was in the 6th grade. We went to this like Seguro Social like resort type place. It had like dorms and stuff, and a huge pool, and it had a little soccer stadium, and then they were in the 1st division when we went. So we got to go to one of their games. I couldn't tell you who they played, but it was
if memory serves me, Atlante was owned by Seguro Social,
right?
And then they got into, after Seguro Social got rid of them. That's when they went into relegation and stuff like that. But yeah, La Volpe. I mean, he's paid his dues. Believe it or not,
just hear the pitch. Miren, no gané un trofeo aquí con ustedes y yo me quiero despedir por no ganando un trofeo con ustedes nuevamente. ¿Está bien? Si quieren.
I think that, look, prior to the meltdown that he had in '96 when he coached America for the first time, the teams that he had coached, quote unquote, were smaller teams in smaller markets. Even Atlante, although he did very well with them, You know, it was that it's the type of team where I mean, they played in, you know, they used to call it Nesa York, you know, and they played in you know, the players like El Mohamed.
Oh, and Nessa 86.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it didn't. They were, you know, they were a good squad, obviously, the players and stuff like that, and La Volpe did, you know, really good there. But when he went to America, that was really the first time where he was with a team that had that really huge media presence, and maybe that impulsive, you know, nature that he has, just didn't really sit well. And you know, he that's, you know, he got kicked off. He got fired from there, and then I know that if I think he also coached Chivas for a while.
Several
Uh,
times.
I think twice.
I
If I'm
think
not
he has
mistaken.
like 2 or 3 stamps from Chivas on his card.
Chivas, and then Atlas. You know, that's obviously he did, you know, good with, you know, he did well with Atlas. He had a, although they never won, they went to a final. You know, those games, those Atlas games back in the late '90s, dude, they were fun as hell to watch.
Isn't that when Atlas had Dani Osorio and all those guys?
They had, yeah, Daniel Osornio. They had
And
Miguel
Cepeda.
Cepeda. They had that you also had that player, that promising player that got into an accident and they chopped off his leg. I forget his name.
Oh, I'm thinking of
They,
Dani Osorno,
uh,
not Osorio, Osorno.
yeah. They had Cabuto. They had, what's his name, Macias, if I'm not
And
mistaken.
even with all that talent,
They had
did they win a championship?
They had Misionero Castillo. Um, they had a good team. They had a really, really good team, but they were fun as hell to watch.
Well,
And
isn't
then
Rafa on that team at that point?
Rafa wasn't there for that long, though. You know,
Well,
he
no,
was
but
there. He did play the final. He did play the final where they lost to Toluca, and then, but after that season, that's when he went off to Monaco.
right.
Um, and then after Toluca, he went to. I'm sorry. After Atlas, he went to Toluca, and you know, he he did well with Toluca, but I mean, obviously, Ojitos Mesa, you know, built that team, but you know, he did well.
And then he got the Mexico gig, and then he like quote unquote phoned it in,
Yeah, I mean,
but he wasn't technically the coach. And then he gets
I mean,
Mexico.
I often wonder. I often wonder what would have happened if he would have beaten. You know, if Mexico would have beaten Argentina. I wonder if they would have given him
Another
an
4 years.
I wonder. I truly wonder.
Well, all I remember about that period in your relationship with La Volpe is that you were hell bent against it.
I was. I'm not gonna lie. I
You
was.
were a raging anti-La Volpe.
I was pissed off so that La Puente, you know, that La Puente, what do you call it, was fired for less, dude. And that's one of the things that I was like, you know, that,
Hey, you don't have to tell me that, but they
like,
can't vote out for
with,
qualifying for the World Cup.
you know,
How
like,
dare you qualify?
You know, talking to Preciado last week, you know, it's like, well, that's one of the things that pissed me. You know, when I see Osorio and, you know, getting, you know, raped 7-0, I'm like, dude, there's been better coaches that have been fired for less, you know? I mean, that's not, you know, Osorio's fault, you know, that's pendejo nosotros, you know, porque nos dejamos, but oh well.
The
I still, like, you said this last week, you know, La Puente's 98 team was fun as hell to watch. And one of the things I always tell people when they say, "Oh, La Puente, you know, he's too defensive. He's too defensive." To date, that's the most offensive Mexico team, you know, we've ever had in terms of goal output.
oh yeah,
production.
they scored 7 goals. It was or yes, well, let's see, 8 goals. They scored 8 goals
Yeah.
in that tournament.
So in terms of goal production, that was, you know, Mexico's most offensive.
No, yeah, they were very entertaining. I mean, they just had. I mean, and they were doing things that at least, and since I've been watching, they were doing things that no Mexico team had ever done. Like they bring in Cabrito, who was just such a massive change of pace with his speed that they just had never had a guy like that. At least that since I'd been watching, it's like, wow, that is like, you know, this is what a real team does. They actually have, you know, different things that they can do. It was always like the same for so long. and it was just great to see just different elements being brought in, which is something that hadn't happened for Mexico up until that time. Yeah, so they were terrific. I mean, that first game against Korea, when Matador got that second goal, I don't know, I think I was dancing for 15 minutes. I mean, that was a great win.
Yeah,
I remember that clearly because I was the game was like at 10 Austin time, and I was at the HEB buying my beer like at 9, and the entire supermarket was full of Mexican dudes buying beer. It was hilarious. I mean, I think we even started a little cheer inside the supermarket.
there's I don't know if it's still around. BW3s in Houston. It's Buffalo Wings.
Right.
I watched a lot of at the time we didn't have our fraternity. They had torn down the fraternity house, and they were building our new one.
God, so just like Delta House, they tore it down, man. That's
well, yeah, because our alumni basically bought us, or they were building us a new house.
My advice to you is to start drinking heavily.
So I watched a lot of games in my apartment, and I watched a lot of games at BW3s. One of the ones that I watched was when Michael Owen became, a superstar, an international superstar.
Against Argentina.
Yeah, against Argentina. Yeah, that was a good game.
I'm not gonna lie. I ran out of cigarettes during the Mexico-Germany game, and I had to run to the 7-Eleven. And it was right after they'd scored the goal, and I was like in a freaking panic because I wasn't expecting it at all. It's like, that's a game. I mean, honestly, if anybody was a Mexico fan, it's like a game where like you hang on and hope that something crazy happens, and then that was the crazy thing. And I was like, I was so pissed at myself for not getting it before. I was like, God, I had to have it because I would smoke like three packs of not a day, but a game. I would smoke so much.
Do you still smoke, John?
Oh no, I quit smoking 20 years ago. But like soon after that is when it's like, you know what, maybe it's time for me to quit. No, I actually stopped the New Year's Day after that. New Year's Day 1999 was the last time I stopped.
I stopped in 2004, March 15th. I knew that I was kind of cured from it when I could watch an America game. And not get withdrawals,
So you were a chain smoking America fan. Interesting.
I was.
How many? Would you go through a full pack?
I would. There were days where I'd be. I'm
not talking about days. I'm talking about games. Let me put you this way.
Not an entire pack throughout a game.
Would you only have to use the lighter once? Because you're like, oh, I got one right here.
Were you that bad, John?
Oh, during Mexico games, absolutely. I was a nervous wreck.
I would never smoke an entire pack during just
Dude, I'm telling you, I would seriously get into a sale. I would be so nervous that I'd forget that I'd have one lit, that I'd light another one, and then I'd just take turns smoking both of them. It was, yeah, it was. I was a nervous wreck, and it's the only thing for any other. No other sport teams. It just doesn't matter. It's just that it was, and back then, especially for whatever reason, it was just really important to me. So yeah, I would just, the nerves were.
I'm glad I quit smoking. Then because relatively, cigarettes were still cheap. Now, dude, Jesus Christ.
Oh, it's like $6 a pack now, isn't it? Something it's insane. I can't imagine being a smoker now.
Yeah, in some places, dude.
Oh, how much?
8, 9.
That means the laws are working. That's the whole point. Let's make it expensive so that way, people stop smoking.
Well, I'm just gonna say that was our mystery guest.
Yes, sir.
Our mystery guest. Feel free to interject whenever you want, mystery guest.
Hello, I am from Alaska, listening to this podcast. Wait, was I supposed to continue?
No, it's all right. I forgot what we were talking about.
Ronnie's rant.
Oh, that's right, about the about the La Puente teams. So you would smoke a lot during the games, Ronnie. Did you also buy yourself a La Puente hat? Would you wear the La Puente hat? Do you have the La Puente hat?
Las Morinas? Nah, hell no.
No, Ronnie, we have bets going with Dan. If Dan, his bet is if Santos wins, he gets the, he'll paint his kid's face with the green and white war paint. Joel is going to cut his hair in the style of whatever Alan Pulido has at the time. I think for you, Ronnie, if America wins, you should grow a La Volpe style mustache, and you can send us the proof. But all you have to do, I know you're very secretive. All you have to do is just send us the mustache by just the mustache.
I actually sported a mustache about 2-3 years ago for about, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 months. I sported it, dude. I had kind of like almost like a Fu Manchu, not a Fu Manchu, the
goatee.
No, it wasn't the goatee. No, it wasn't
the handlebar. The handlebar.
It's the one that the one that like Hulk Hogan has. The one that where it extends down.
Yeah, a goatee.
Like handlebar.
Not. Yeah, I think is it called a handlebar? Yeah, it's not the goatee
handlebar mustache.
Because I didn't wrap around, but I had that going on for about, I don't know, 5-6 months, dude.
Yeah, so you just grow just a big bushy caterpillar, because obviously you can grow one, and then just send us that. That's how you can celebrate America's Liguilla victory.
Yeah. Oh shit! I'll sport the mustache if America wins the Liguilla.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. So Joel, if Ronnie's going to do that, then you have to do the. You don't have to necessarily, Joel, get the haircut, but at least do the hairdo. I think, Joel, you could either do that, or you could sing Guadalajara for us.
I'd rather see Joel dance the Pulido dance.
Which one? He has several.
I know which one you're talking about.
So I'm telling you, Joel, you can. Joel, have you made that your ringtone yet?
No. No, sir. I have not.
A friend of mine, one of the guys that helped me get into the business back when I was younger, was Vicente's tour manager in the mid '80s, and he had some good Vicente stories. Well, gentlemen, I think that we've gone over our allotted time. We wanted to keep it closer to 2 hours, so I think we're probably at a good spot where we can end the show. But before we go, I do want to get y'all's prediction for the big game on Friday, and then the next one's gonna be like on Tuesday, right? Does anybody know? Anyone have the calendar in front of them?
Mexico 24th, Mexico 28th.
So that is a Tuesday, isn't it? Or a Monday?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we should do a special post game edition. If they're playing in Trinidad, so it's not sounding like they're going to be playing real late. They might be playing relatively early. So maybe we can do like at a regular time. There'll be a whole range of emotions possible for that.
Yes.
So that should be. But anyway, before we do that, we do have to get predictions in. So I'll go down the line that I have here. And first guy is Chiquis. Chiquis, what's going to happen? Who wins? Who loses? Draw? What you got? El pronóstico.
I think Mexico will win 1-0.
1-0. Joel.
2-0.
Grandmeister. Oh, Grandmeister is muted right now. Perhaps he'll be back. I do think it's also going to be a Mexico win, and I think it's going to be 2-0 as well. I think that there'll be one with a penalty, and another one probably like on a tiro de esquina is what I think is going to happen. So maybe we can get some predictions from some of our folks that are they're still watching us. If anybody has a prediction, or maybe they did earlier on the chat, I wasn't sure if we saw any predictions on the chat. We had quite a chat going tonight, Chiquis.
Speaking of tiro de esquina, Martin did a video on the short corner kicks, saying that they're useless, and it was pretty interesting. He did stats on the amount of goals that are actually scored on those types of corner kicks, as opposed to just regular cross corner kicks.
Right.
It's quite more advantageous just to kick the ball across.
Yeah, because I mean, you could have like one extra guy in there. I mean, if you're gonna go through the trouble of kicking it, well, why would you have one less guy in there to help you out if you're gonna go through the trouble of keeping him down there?
Yeah, he calls it the Level Piña corner kick because I guess Level Piss started doing it whenever he took over the national team. But
so I guess I don't know if we're going to hear from Ron. It looks like our mystery guest is no longer with us, so I was hoping to get one from his. Oh, Ronnie is back. Ronnie, your prediction for the game.
2-0 Mexico.
Wow! So everyone is in agreement. Now, if we don't get it, we won't get a chance to talk Tuesday. So Tuesday, all of you think they're going to win. What happens in Trinidad? And I'll go with Chiquis again.
I think 2-0.
See Mexico win again.
Yeah.
Joel?
Wait, what happened?
Mexico plays Trinidad on Tuesday. What is your prediction?
Oh, after.
Yeah, remember you've already said Mexico's won, so you have to base it on what you know. So.
Going off of that,
yeah,
I say they will get a tie, 1-1.
Ron?
I think that they're 2-1.
2-1. I'm kind of leaning with Joel. I think it'll be a tie, and I think it'll be one where it happens late. I'm not sure if it's going to be Mexico or Trinidad where who does it, but I think it'll be a late draw, and I think 2-2, because I do think that Mexico's going to, especially if they get the win, which we all think they're going to have a little bit of a problem focusing. Maybe I think they're going to be a little. Their energy is not going to be as high as it would have been. One would hope Friday night. So I think they will get the draw. I think they'll be happy with the 4 points, and that would give them 8 points. Obviously, having 10 points before the June games would be huge, but 8 points is definitely much more manageable, because at this time in the previous one, I believe they had after the fourth game, I think they only had 4 points because they had 4 draws. I believe that's correct. Yes, I believe that is correct. So, all right. So everyone thinks Mexico's going to win, and they're going to at least take a few points in Trinidad when they travel down to the Caribbean for that game on Tuesday. Well, folks, that does wrap it up here on the CantinaMX podcast. Do want to thank you guys for joining us. My name is John Jagu, and do want to say goodbye to Chiquis Albercampa for again setting all this up.
Yeah, had fun. One last shout out from Camila.
It's always good to have shout outs at the end of the show. Thank you, Chiquis, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week. Joel Aceves down in South Los Angeles, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, sir, John.
A pleasure. Ronnie, glad you could make it. Congratulations on your big win this weekend.
Thank you, John.
Just so that you don't feel that I do feel the pain, I'll just for a little bit remind myself that we lost, and we'll get back to it. This has been I do this every time at the end. The CantinaMX podcast. My name is John Jagu. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you next week, maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday. We will figure it out. But either way, we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you for joining us here live on YouTube. And you can listen to this and every previous edition of this podcast downloaded on the Podcast Center, iTunes, or Google Play. Thanks very much for joining us, everybody.